Hello and welcome to TaleTalk English. Today's story is emotional, dramatic, and full of betrayal. It will also help you improve your English listening and vocabulary through real-life conversations and simple daily expressions. As you listen, try to imagine every scene and every feeling. This is the story of a woman who trusted her husband and her best friend completely until one terrible night changed everything. My name is Amelia. For many years, I believed I had the perfect life. I had a successful business, a beautiful home, a loving husband, and 2 wonderful children. Every morning, I woke up feeling grateful for everything I had achieved. But I never imagined that the 2 people closest to me would become the reason my world almost collapsed. The night everything changed started like any other. I was lying in bed after returning from a business trip. I was exhausted from traveling. My husband, Nathan, thought I was asleep. I closed my eyes and stayed completely still. Then I heard the bedroom door open very slowly. At first, I thought Nathan had forgotten something, but then I heard another voice, a woman's voice, a voice I knew very well. "Is she asleep?" the woman whispered. My heart nearly stopped. It was my best friend, Lauren. A cold wave rushed through my body. I could not believe what I was hearing. Lauren had been my best friend for over 15 years. She knew all my secrets. She had attended my wedding. She had held my children when they were babies. I trusted her more than almost anyone in the world. I remained perfectly still. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I only listened. "She's sleeping," Nathan whispered back. "Good," Lauren replied softly. I felt my stomach twist into a painful knot. In that moment, I knew something was terribly wrong. I wanted to jump out of bed and confront them immediately, but I forced myself to stay calm. I needed to know the truth. For years, I had worked hard to build my business. I owned an international interior design company. I started with almost nothing. There were times when I worked 18 hours a day. There were nights when I cried from stress because I wasn't sure if my company would survive. But I never gave up. Eventually, my hard work paid off. My company became successful. I opened offices in several countries. People often called me a strong businesswoman. But success came with sacrifices. Because of my frequent travel, I needed help at home. That was when Lauren became more involved in my family's life. She offered to help with the children. She drove them to school. She prepared dinner. She stayed overnight whenever I traveled for work. I thought I was lucky to have such a loyal friend. Whenever I bought expensive gifts, I bought something for Lauren, too. If she had financial problems, I helped her. When her car broke down, I paid for the repairs. I never expected anything in return. I helped her because I loved her like a sister. But while I was treating her like family, she was secretly becoming jealous. At first, I didn't notice it. The signs were small, very small. Sometimes she would stare at my house for a few seconds too long. Sometimes she would ask strange questions about my income. Sometimes she would joke about how nice it must be to have my life. I thought she was simply curious. Now I know those were warning signs. One morning, after hearing the conversation in my bedroom, I watched Lauren more carefully. When she arrived at the house, she brought cookies for my children. She smiled warmly. She acted completely normal, but something felt different now. I noticed the way she looked at Nathan. I noticed the way Nathan smiled back. The look they shared lasted only a second, but it told me everything. Later that afternoon, Lauren sat with us in the living room. She looked at Nathan and smiled. "Nathan has always been so intelligent," she said. "If it weren't for him, Amelia probably wouldn't have become this successful." I waited for Nathan to correct her. I waited for him to defend me. I waited for him to say that I built my company myself. Instead, he simply smiled. My heart sank. It felt like a knife sliding into my chest. That smile told me more than words ever could. Days passed. I started paying attention to everything. I noticed Lauren making decisions inside my house without asking me. She rearranged furniture. She changed decorations. She even chose meals for Nathan. Little by little, she was acting as if she already belonged there, as if she were replacing me. The more I observed, the more uncomfortable I became. Then I made a decision. A week later, I told everyone I was leaving for a 4-day business trip. But it was a lie. I wanted proof. Real proof. I kissed my children goodbye. I hugged Nathan. I smiled at Lauren. Then I left. But instead of traveling, I checked into a nearby hotel. The next day, I waited until the afternoon. Then I drove home without warning anyone. My hands were shaking as I unlocked the back door. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Slowly, I walked toward my home office. I heard voices inside. I moved closer. Then I looked through a small gap in the door. The sight nearly broke my heart. Lauren was sitting in my office chair. She was holding one of my business awards. She stared at her reflection in the shiny gold surface. She looked proud, almost excited. Nathan stood behind her. His arms were wrapped around her waist. He kissed her shoulder. My stomach turned. Then Lauren laughed. "When we're married," she said, "will you help me become successful too?" I felt tears filling my eyes. But I stayed silent. I needed to hear more. Nathan laughed confidently. "Of course," he replied. "Amelia isn't the reason for that company. I gave her most of the good ideas." The words hit me like a truck. 10 years of sacrifice, 10 years of sleepless nights, 10 years of hard work. And now he was stealing credit for everything just to impress another woman? I leaned against the wall. For a moment, I thought I might collapse, but then something changed inside me. The pain slowly became strength. The tears stopped. The sadness disappeared. In its place came determination. I stepped into the room. Then I started clapping, slowly, loudly. Both of them froze. Their faces became pale. The award slipped from Lauren's hands and crashed onto the floor. "What a beautiful performance," I said calmly. Neither of them spoke. Neither of them moved. The silence was almost unbearable. Finally, Nathan tried to explain. "Amelia, this isn't what it looks like." I laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the laugh of someone who had finally seen the truth. "Really?" I asked. "Then tell me what it looks like." He couldn't answer. Lauren couldn't answer either. They simply stared at the floor. I looked directly at Nathan. "If you're truly responsible for my success, prove it." His mouth opened, then closed. No words came out. For years he had hidden behind my achievements. Now he had nowhere to hide. Then I turned to Lauren. "You wanted my life so badly," I said. "You wanted my house, my husband, my success." I shook my head sadly. "You never understood something important." "What?" she whispered. "You can steal a husband. You can steal furniture. You can steal jewelry." I looked directly into her eyes. "But you can never steal the years of hard work that created my success." Tears rolled down her face, but I felt nothing. My sympathy had disappeared. I opened my briefcase. Inside were divorce papers. I placed them on the desk. Nathan stared at them in shock. "I already spoke with my lawyer," I said. His face turned white. Then I showed him another folder. Inside were financial records, records proving that I owned everything. The house, the cars, the investments, everything. For years, I had protected him from his own financial mistakes. I had paid debts he never bothered to fix. Lauren looked at the documents. The excitement disappeared from her face immediately. She finally realized the truth. Nathan wasn't wealthy. Nathan wasn't powerful. Nathan wasn't responsible for my success. He was simply standing next to someone successful. The man she thought she wanted didn't actually exist. "Leave," I said quietly. Neither of them argued. Neither of them fought. They simply walked away. And just like that, they were gone. The house became silent, but for the first time in months, the silence felt peaceful. That evening, I hugged my children tightly. I promised myself that no matter what happened, I would protect them. The following year wasn't easy. There were difficult days, there were painful nights, but I kept moving forward. My business continued growing. I opened 3 new international offices. I traveled the world. Most importantly, I found peace. Exactly 1 year later, I saw Nathan and Lauren again. I was walking through the city when I noticed them sitting inside a small cafe. They were arguing. Both looked exhausted. Both looked unhappy. The dream they created together had fallen apart. For a moment, Nathan looked up and saw me. His eyes filled with regret. But it was too late. Some doors never reopen. I smiled politely, then I continued walking. I didn't stop. I didn't look back, because my future was ahead of me, not behind me. As I reached my car, I felt the warm sunshine on my face. I realized something important. My success never came from Nathan. It never came from Lauren. It came from me, from my hard work, from my determination, from my strength. And no one could ever take that away. The lesson of this story is simple. Never allow anyone to take credit for your achievements. Choose your friends carefully. Choose your partner wisely. A true friend celebrates your success. A true partner supports your dreams. And remember this, anyone can steal what you own, but nobody can steal who you are. What would you do if you were Amelia? Would you forgive them, or would you walk away forever? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more emotional stories.